Now, several multinational companies have been targeted in this massive wave of cyber attacks. It started in Russia and Ukraine before then spreading into Western Europe. IT experts have identified the software at hand here is Petya. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, it does demand money, about $300 worth of Bitcoin, in exchange for the return of the data affected.
We recommend that the ransom isn't paid because you can't guarantee that you will get a decryption key if you pay the ransom. And on top of that, it simply is putting money into the pockets of criminals and encouraging further attacks. However, I do understand the dilemma that people and organisations have. The signatures of these attacks are changing too quickly for conventional antivirus to keep up. However, there are methods of protecting specifically against unwanted encryption and hence against ransomware. And organisations, enterprises, individuals need to start looking at that sort of protection. This is a threat that's not going to go away anytime soon. It's not going to be decreasing, it's going to be increasing in severity.
Let's bring in Mariam Zaidi now. She's live in Brussels with more data on this particular story. Mariam, what similarities, if any, does this ransomware, this particular wave of attacks, Petya, some are calling it, what similarities does it have with the last bit of malware to cause widespread damage? WannaCry?
Sure. Well, just like WannaCry, that of course crippled the UK's National Health Service, the Petya attack took control of computers and demanded digital ransoms, as was being said just there, to regain access for the users. Now, it's used the same NSA hacking tool, Eternal Blue. Dozens of hacking tools were, of course, stolen from the NSA and then leaked online a few months ago. But, the really bad news that this attack could be even bigger. In Petya, of course, we have a strain of malware affecting multiple countries, spreading itself to large organizations across Europe. Now, of course, as people were saying, Ukraine has been hit really hard. It's affected its international airport, the Chernobyl nuclear plant, and ATMs even had to be shut down in Kiev, and then it's spread thick and fast. We talk about Mola Mast, the world's biggest advertising agency, WPP Group were hit as well as Russia's biggest oil company. So this is really chaos on an even grander scale.
Indeed. So are all versions of Windows vulnerable to this, or is it a specific older variant, like say Windows 7 or 8, that's specifically vulnerable?
Well, I don't think that's clear. This ransomware uses what is called Eternal Blue exploits in Windows computers. So it's not impacting individual users, I've been told. Now, it was, of course, meant to have been fixed by Microsoft, but this latest attack, of course, shows that it hasn't worked. Microsoft says its latest antivirus should protect users. And in general, that's a line you're getting from antivirus companies. You might be getting a new email in your inbox, for example. So the advice really is to get your antivirus up to date. Have your firewalls, have good email filters to put spam emails where they really need to be. And perhaps my advice is buy a Mac.
Well, I'm sure we'll continue with the Mac versus Windows arguments a little later on. But one last question for you. Originally, the email address that these ransoms would be sent to was being hosted by a German firm, Posteo, but that account has now been shut down. Do we know anything else beyond that about the identity of the attackers or their motives in this wave of cyber attacks?
No, I mean, Ram, I think there's a real struggle right now to, get to grips with what is happening and then to also find out who is really behind this attack. Microsoft's saying that they've initially focused on the supply chain software run by a company called MEDoc. It's a Ukrainian company specializing in tax accountancy. That company has denied that it was a source of the attack, and some say the attack was then timed to hit a day before a holiday marking the adoption of Ukraine's first constitution. And then some people are saying that, of course, the NSA has not acknowledged its tools were used in WannaCry or in this latest attack, but that they should actually do something to now help the world defend against the weapons it has created. So we're going to have to wait and see, really, Rama.
Indeed. So then score 1 for Macs and Linux and 0 for Windows so far. Mariam Zaidi there live in Brussels.